Alright guys, welcome back to the garage. Today is a really exciting project I've been looking forward to for a while. We're going to be doing auxiliary switches, and not just aftermarket ones, the factory ones. We're going to be swapping out the old piano toggle keys for the sort of auxiliary switch part that you can get OEM from any Mopar store. I'll have the part numbers for everything here in a minute listed out on the workbench and down in the link below. Before I get any further into the video, I wanted to take a minute and thank the guys over at HD Ram Forums. In particular, member Addy, he did a really excellent job of just sort of walking me through the process. There's a really great thread over there. So if you guys are doing this and you have any other questions beyond what I'm going to be answering today, check that forum out. Couldn't be more helpful. The purpose of the video today, I wanted to create a full walkthrough, step-by-step guide of everything you need to do to add this to your truck from start to finish. My biggest issue when doing this was finding everything I needed all in one place. You know, there's a lot of different information out there for different trucks. Some of it correct, some of it not correct. It's just people going along and learning as they go. You know, thinking of maybe one thing working and one thing ended up not working. So I just wanted to put everything that you need to do, everything that works, all in one spot, and then get it out there for as many of you to see, to try and help as many of you as possible. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. We are installing auxiliary switches today. Really excited about this one. I've gotten started a little bit, and I'm going to sort of show you what I did. But first we're going to sort of walk over here and outline everything that we're going to be working with. So this is essentially everything minus the exhaust water here. We don't need that. Everything you will need to add in factory auxiliary switches, not the aftermarket ones, but the factory one. So my truck is diesel and it's got the park sense. So I've got tow haul mode, exhaust brake, and then park for front and rear, and then these 6 auxiliary switches. So I'll show you the part number for that now. That is 68376644AE. I'll put that down in the description as well. So put that aside for now. This is going to be used for in the fuse box. The factory truck, the way it comes, and all the sort of Ram trucks come equipped with the fuse box needed to make these work. They're just empty. So we're going to get some sort of terminals here, terminal connects here. I got 10 gauge. You can choose whatever gauge you want based on what you plan on running. I don't think I need 10 gauge stranded. But I wanted it just in case. Power, I've got my mini J-case fuses. You get these on Amazon, different sizes. I only need one extra fuse right now that I don't have, and that's going to be like a 1 or a 2 amp for these relays. For these relays, I've got a the 30 and the 87. I mean, I only need like a 1 amp fuse for the switch side of the relay. The power or the load side, I'm going to have 20 to 40 depending on what I'm running. Terminals, I'll put a link to these guys down below. Great website to get these off of. But these are all the terminals and the connections that we're going to need in the fuse box, which factory wise that's called the PDC, power distribution console or center, whatever. Now this is going to be the cable that connects to this guy, runs all the way through the firewall and connects to the fuse box in the insert of the hood of the truck. And we're going to go over that in a minute. This is, of course, the factory assembly, and this is the wiring diagram we'll get to later. But let's hop back over where we started and take a look at what we got going on in here. Okay, this is the plastic box that's housing the fuse panel assembly. The doors are open. I've lifted the fuses out of there, and this is really what we're going to be working with to set up everything. I will load sort of if you go to the upfitter website for Ram, it tells you what these various fuses are, and I've got that in my diagram. It doesn't matter if you key off what they're supposed to be for. I mean, it's a fuse is a fuse. doesn't really matter if you put them in the correct spot, if you mix up 1 and 4 or 3 and 2, but I'm going to keep it as factory. I'm going to keep it as factory as possible. If you flip this over, and you try and see in here what we've already got, what we're already working with. As far as I understand it, these are for the fuses, and the wires that are in here are for the in-cabin heating. So I'm going to obviously leave those in place and then wire up everything else for the switches. So I think what I'm going to do, since I'm already here, I already have it opened up, I'll save the fun install of the switch panel for later and just continue on with this work here. I'm going to bring my wiring diagram over here and start wiring this up. Okay, so I've got the 40 amp fuse and the relay, the hot side of the relay, plugged in. I'll just flip this over and show you. It's this cable here. Got my brother over now. He's just helping me build wire and just kind of advising on all of this in general. I don't think I'm going to need the heat shrink. I know for this side it's not going to fit. This is a pretty tight entry point, so if you're using 10 gauge wire like I am, don't do the heat shrink, and you may need to use a vise to really compress your male terminal, which is what we did to get this to fit into here. So I'm going to go hop over to the workbench and show you what it looks like to build the cables together. Alright, so we're going to be finishing up this. We've got this going into the fuse side, and this is going to be going into the relay side. And this is going to be bringing 30 amps, or at least up to for the relay, from the fuse over to the female connection. So we're going to make that female connection now. It's not going to be as pretty as I guess it should be, just because I don't have the proper crimps for this, but we'll get it done. So you just kind of fold these tabs over onto the wire, and these will fold over onto the insulation. If you do have the proper crimps, this will be much faster. If not, just kind of work it over, and once you get it kind of rounded, then you can start pressing down on it to make sure you've got it crimped in place. And we'll come back with you here in a couple of minutes once I got this done and show you how to put the male terminal on, and I'll explain what we need to do to make this fit, given that it's a 10 gauge wire in a fuse box that really I think is maybe meant more for 12 and smaller. Anyway, we'll be back with you in a couple seconds. Alright, as promised, we're back putting the male terminal on. Use the crimpers here, crush it down, and as I said earlier, the PDC and the rams, it looks like it's really meant more for 12 gauge, not 10 gauge, especially this wire's got the insulation over the sheathing. So we're flattening out the rounded portion in the vise here, as you can see, to make it slide in more easily into the fuse panel. So as we take this out, okay. So when we take this out, you can see now this is quite flat, and then we found that this will slide in much more easily. Okay, so I'm going to be loading in the second aux switch now. It's going to be going into this third port from the top. So you got 1 here, 2, 3. I'll show you the wiring guide in a minute. So you're just going to work this in and then take a look at the top. Not quite in all the way yet. See how it looks. So this one is stuck. I think we're gonna have to back the tabs out on this one as well. I wasn't sure if this was blocking it or not on the last one, but essentially if you've got these tabs on the side, we're gonna have to trim those out as well. So I'll come back with you after we've done that. Okay, I am over here now with the wiring guide. I've got the male terminal to the fuse bus bar, and this will be bringing power over to the 86 connector on the relay for this aux switch 6, and then chaining it over to 5, this one to 4, this one to 1, this one obviously will go up to 2, and this one
we'll go to 3. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug all these connections in. Once they're in, I will go ahead and show you how it all looks. Okay guys, I've got the terminals here for the 86, or the power side, or the power side of the switch side of the relay, and the white wires underneath are those plugs. So now we can do something fun, because I'm tired of standing in front of this thing all day. We're gonna hop up into the cab and pop the Uconnect out and install that switch assembly here. So we're gonna hop in, shift gears a little bit, pop out the old one, put in the new one, and then run our connects. So this is where we're going to use our T-taps, connect to the existing wires, and then run this this guy through the firewall. Okay, we are up in the cab now. Take the little rubber insert out of there. You'll notice 2 bolts. Those are both Torx 20. Undo those. And then to pop this sort of fascia Uconnect assembly off, you'll put one hand here, the other hand here, and pull firmly towards you, and that'll literally pop this whole assembly out. This is probably, should be, I've done it before, this should definitely be one of the easiest things of the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out, and then I'll show you what's behind here and what this looks like. Okay, I've got the assembly pulled away now. There we go. Okay, got the assembly pulled away. This is what we're looking at down here. The plug right here, this is the plug that is what we need. It's got a red, a black, and then an orange wire. Those really control the functions that you already have in your truck. The other 6 wires are on every truck, and they're just basically ground signal wires that will run well, they're ground signal wires. They run through this harness down and just up above the parking brake down in there to a XY125A connector. Now in trucks that come from the factory with this aux switch, they will have, they'll continue on from the connector down by the parking brake through the firewall and into the PDC. Rather than connect to them down by my foot where it's difficult, I'm just going to tap into these 6 signal wires and then run back through here, behind here, and then out through the firewall my 6 signal wires. My 6 signal wires, and run them through into the PDC, and that's how we're going to connect the power for the new assembly. So what we're going to do is pull out this switch we've already done, and then pull out this guy, and then unscrew the this guy here is a trailer brake controller, by the way. We're going to unscrew the old module and put in the new one. So go ahead and get that done, and once this is screwed in, I'll show you what it looks like. We're going to take this back, this loom back quite a bit, because we're going to need to attach our T-taps to these signal wires. I just realized I forgot to mention there's a bolt here and a bolt here. They're Torx 15, and undo those and this thing will pop out, and then you can swap out the trailer brake controller, put it into the new module, and then put this this new module back in place. Okay guys, so in addition to this screw and this screw, there were of course 4 impossible to reach tabs. You have to come in here and here, and then here, there it is, here and here with a screwdriver, and just kind of work it out. But got it out, so I just wanted to show you the tabs there. So now that I got it out, this is the unit. We're going to swap out the trailer brake controller there, put it into that module, and then put the new unit in, and then work on connecting the cell up there. So I'll be back with you once the new unit's in. Alright guys, I've got the unit swapped out here. This is the new unit. The old unit, think it's on the workbench somewhere. I've pulled the loom back. I've also installed this. I've pulled the loom back, and you can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brown and different brown colored wires. These are the 6 signal wires that will complete the ground when activated, when the switch is pressed in the PDC. So we got to tap into each of these. I've got a bunch of different T-taps. I'm going to tap into these here. These are the T-taps, and we're going to connect them to these 18 gauge AWG. I have no idea which wire here controls which switch, so that's going to be a bit of a troubleshoot later on. But first, get these T-taps set up, and then get these strapped in. Let me grab a T-tap here. Essentially, the way these guys work, you will wrap around, here we go. You'll wrap around one of these cables and then use some needle nose pliers and crush this together, and this will complete the connection. You don't have to do any stripping. This end will clamp down on these ends and you're good. Pretty much that's it. So I'm going to do 6 of these here, connect them to these 6 here, and then run this entire cable back through one of these holes, down below, and then out through the rubber grommet. Let's see, just there, which is where I ran the cable for these amp steps. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these all T-tapped, and I'll be back with you once they're done. Okay guys, I've been working for a while, got this plugged back in to the trailer brake controller. This is our controller for the switch assembly, the aux switch buttons. We've got the brown wires here, the brown signal wires. There we go. We've got the brown signal wires here that lead to the XY125A connector by the park brake. Tapped into by these wires, which will go directly to the PDC box. The reason we want to use these wires is that they will interface with the dash. Sorry for the reflection. Will interface with the dash and allow us to program the aux switches. This is what will complete the ground on the relay. These wires will complete the ground on the relay, and that will allow us to activate the whatever sort of auxiliary accessory we've got. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this back in, and then let's see. Yeah, so that's all plugged back in. Now I can put the U-Connect and everything back in and take a look at the new things. I guess the new switch assembly button there. So I'll go ahead and make sure this is all buttoned down, and then once I put this back, I'll show you how it looks. Alright, so we've now got the new unit installed and hooked up. Obviously these don't work quite yet because they're not connected to the power in the engine bay, but this is what it looks like. Alright, so there he is. Cable runs down that way, up above the steering, over, along, I'm not sure what that is, I can't remember. This guy, and then through the grommet. I've got to seal that up. That'll probably be tomorrow, where I get some seal and zip tie and clean all this up. But for now, we're gonna come out in here, cut this off because I don't need all like 10 feet of it, and then start connecting this to the switch side, the negative side of the relay, and we should be pretty set there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all 6 of these guys. Basically it's just going to be the same small terminals on each of them, and then shoved into each of these little ports. Over here you'll see basically this black cable is this black cable, and that's going to have 6 small wires, and we're going to have 1 female connector on each one going to each of the different relays. So that's what I'll be doing next here. So I'll be back up with you once those are all done. Alright guys, I've got all the ground wires put in here, and then all of the, I don't think I filmed too much of it, but all of this 18 gauge hot wire that's coming off of the relay and out to the device. All those guys are on here. And I've got them marked according to where they are at, you know, which aux switch it should be. I don't think any of these are correct at the moment because where I tapped in the cab, I'm not sure which brown signal wire was which. So I may have to go back in there and double check on those. But for now, what I'm going to do is put this all back together. This goes back together the same way it came apart. We've got our box little slots to get the wires in there. So I'm going to get that back in together, put the battery on, and then see if I can't get to programming these switches on the console. Okay guys, it takes a bit of patience, a bit of working to get all these cables routed through the box back in here. There's the sort of side route for all the cables. I ran these out that same area. These are all, of course, the hot cables that your accessories will plug into. I just have them taped off for the evening because I'm going to come back tomorrow and finish up. I've been working on this for over 8 hours. A lot of it was just getting the connectors to lock into place in here. They didn't want to do that. I had to bend them a little bit. So hopefully this is all good to go in here. Put the battery back, just gotta put this support in place, bolt that down. And then tomorrow I'll be back with you to program the dash via Alpha OBD, and then of course with these 5th gen trucks we got the security bypass module as well. Okay guys, I'm in here now getting ready to do the programming of our awesome switches that we put in last night. Got to pull off this assembly here just to access the CAN bus for the security module. I don't think you have to, but it will make your life a little bit easier. So I'm going to come in here with the non-marring pry bar here and just pry this back a bit. And once you get the clips off, it should just come right out. Let's see, I think I've got a couple more up top here. And put the phone down, get this out, and then show you what it looks like behind here. Okay, so now we've got access to the CAN bus back in here, and you'll see there's 2 different sort of green columns, I think. Trying to get it highlighted for you both. So there's a black and green one and then a black and white one. Essentially what we're going to do is take our bypass module and plug the black and green cable into the black and green bus, the black and white cable into the black and white, or sorry, white and green cable into the white and green bus, black and green cable into the black and green bus. So doesn't matter, shouldn't matter which one you plug into. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then once these are plugged in here, this end of the cable, it kind of looks like this. This will go into the OBD2 port, and this will plug into my OBD2 USB link. So we'll go ahead and get the, I'm going to go ahead and get this end plugged into the CAN buses off camera, just because I'll need 2 hands to do this and some light, and then I'll show you what it looks like once that's done. Okay, I'm under here now. I've got this plugged in. Not a lot of room for me to point your signal to. You can see there's 2 banks of green switches, or green ports rather. The one on the right has a white backing to it, and the one on the left has a black backing to it. So the green and white cable right in front there, that runs to the green and white backing port, and the green and black cable there runs to the green and black port. Now you can obviously do what we're doing today, and then once you
finished up, you can take this out, or you can just leave it in here. And I'm inclined to leave it in here for any kind of future mod. I'll just tuck this up out of the way. So, but for now, I'll leave this down, and then we can get it plugged into the OBD2 port. Okay, here's my OBD2 port. I have an OBD2 port splitter because my power steps connect to it. So here's the OBD2 port. Here is the security bypass module. Only one of these two plugs fits on the port here, so you can't really screw it up. This is the one that will go to the port there, and this one will connect to the OBD2 link to the computer. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect this all up and meet you back with the computer back in here with Alpha OBD. Okay, so we're in the truck. I've got my laptop here. This is Alpha OBD. It's $50 for what it allows you to do. Definitely worth it. You're gonna get to a start screen. You want to choose your truck, car, whatever. Mine's a Ram 2500. You're gonna choose function, body computer 2021, series of truck. Under advanced mode, you can choose the type of OBD2 interface you have. The one I picked up is the USB OBD Link EX, so that's the one we're here. That's the one we're choosing. You can use Bluetooth, etc. This is just the one I have. So we're gonna go back to regular mode. Go ahead and plug in your USB port, and go ahead and turn on the ignition here in the run position. Let's go ahead and hit connect, and let's go over to active diagnostic. The thing we're going to set up first is this guy here. You might want to figure out where it is beforehand you get in your truck, because I did. Oh, there we go. So CBC config up at the top here. Alright, so features, CBC features, configuration, aux switches, and PTO. And then the option you'll choose below is, for me, 6 switches. If you want PTO, power takeoff, you choose that option. So you're gonna hit 6 switches, and then you'll hit start once you're connected. Okay, once you're connected to the vehicle, and you've got your config set up here, go ahead and click start. Also, before you hit start, go ahead and just read these instructions. Select option you want to change, hit start, and make sure you have your record changes on. After making changes, cycle the ignition for at least 30 seconds and allow that change to take place. So current status of no aux switches are used. Click next to change the system setting. We'll hit next. And now we've got procedure completed. Let's just go back to start. We'll hit disconnect, and we'll just cycle the ignition. So I think that should have enabled the switch has told the computer that it is in fact here. There's one more program we have to run to allow these switches to be programmable. We'll take a look here and see if that is in fact the case. So the switches are now responding, which is excellent. It's exactly what we wanted. So that has in fact worked. I'm gonna then turn this off. So I went back into the accessory position. We're gonna go ahead and hit connect. I got the light down there. I saw that flash a couple of times to see if we are in fact connected. The fact that the start button is here does in fact, and is clickable, indicate that it's connected. We're gonna go up top. We're gonna hit same as the last time. Car configuration, change, hopefully that's spelled right, yeah. And pull the drop down menu down. If that's the one we want. We're gonna go to this option here. So this time we want custom.set.menu 1, and we're looking for auxiliary switches here. So that's the custom auxiliary switches CSM present. And then we want switch option 3 to 6. This will allow them to be programmable. So that's the one you want to choose. You'll hit start. And then it says current status not present. Click next to change the system selected. We'll hit next and wait for the procedure to be completed. Procedure completed. Okay. Go back to up here, hit start, and then hit disconnect. Go back over and cycle the ignition for 30 seconds. Okay, just right away, started the truck up. I now have a second settings menu. You see settings 2 and then settings. So let's hit settings 2. Press enter for commercial settings. Now I believe the pin is either 0000 or 1234, so just hit enter for each of those. Now then aux switches or pin setup. So this will now allow you to set this up however you want. Let's try aux switch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll go to 1, type power, last type power. So let's just try power source. Battery or ignition, battery or ignition. So I think for the type, for option 1, right now the only thing I'm going to be running on these guys is the light setup, the Baja Design front light, which I'll probably put into the first one, which I would like to have on for battery and not just ignition, you know, in case I want to run it with the truck off, which would be potentially nice. So I'll leave that as it is. We'll hop back. Type, latching or momentary. A momentary switch would mean you have to hold it down if you want it to be on. The moment you let go of the switch, it'll turn off. So I want to keep that as latching. So option 2, aux switch. I'll just make the rest of these all ignition. And then I can always change them as I add different sort of accessories. You know, I do have in mind adding a compressor for airbags down the line. I'll make that one a momentary switch, just because, you know, you don't want it on the whole time. You just want it on while you're holding the switch down. So I'm going to go ahead and make that. I'll go through and program the rest of these off camera, make sure they're all ignition except for the first one, and then go ahead and test them out here once I've got the I think I might just grab my Baja Design light and try testing that, and I'll bring you back for that. I know I said I'd come back to show you the operation of a light bar, but before I do that, I just wanted to show you what these look like. So this one is gonna work even if the engine's off, but right now the engine's on. So the others will also work if the engine. These are 2 through 6 are going to require the ignition to be running, you need the car to be on. Aux 1 will run off the battery as well. So you press it, the light stays on. You press it, the light stays on. That's an example of a latching switch. The momentary switch, I've set up 3 to only work when the truck is running, and to be a momentary switch. So you press it, you let go, it turns off. It turns off. So you press it in, it's on. Release it, it's off. So that's going to be what my compressor is hooked up to, I think, where it's just temporary. And then 4, 5, and 6, those are all set to be latching as well. If we turn the truck off, turn it to the accessory position, none of these will work except one. One now works. So that's exactly how I wanted it. I'm going to go hook up a light bar and just kind of test out which one is in fact which hot wire under the hood, and I'll be back to show you how it all works once it is operational.
Alright guys, I thought I would hook this up and just test everything out and show you the first one that I've done. I've got the Baja Design light bar. Stay tuned for the install video. That is next up on the list. Just sitting up here on the hood, or on the cover. We've got the cable running from it. I clipped off all the extra crap we don't need anymore. We got power, and then we got ground. I've got ground running to the ground bolt, and I've got the power cable running at the moment to aux 2. Only because that's the only one I've connected at the moment. I'll do aux 1 and then test 3, 4, 5, and 6 as well off camera. But we're going to go up and check our work here. So it's now connected to aux 2. Take a look at our switch bank. aux 2, it is the latching switch. It has to have the ignition on, which is why the truck is running right now. We're going to go ahead and click it and keep an eye out for that. Ooh, she's on, off, so that works. This is now pretty much done. All it needs is some accessories. So again, this is the complete factory look. The install is start to finish of everything you need to do to get the factory aux switch bank plus maintain compatibility here. The other thing I wanted to show is the trailer brake control and the gain. That still functions here. You know, gain still functions there. So everything has maintained, you know, park rear off, park front off, turn those back on. All that, towing, trailer, I guess, exhaust brake, and then tow haul mode. All of that functionality is maintained. You've got now working aux switches. Everything is fused in the PDC box as it should be. So that's job done. Alright guys, if you found this video super helpful, amazing, awesome, anything of the sort, feel free to give it a like below, and remember to subscribe to the channel. I think if you've made it this far, you should definitely subscribe. You're certainly interested in what I'm doing. Right now, only 2% of my total views are subscribers, so make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and stay tuned for more.